Howdy how, friends, neighbors, and adventure seekers across the land and around the world. Welcome back to another episode of Lesser Known Treasure Stories. Got a real good one for you today. So pop yourself down in a chair, grab yourself your beverage, be it a frosty beverage or warm one, whatever it is, and let's see if we can figure out just what happened to Thomas Douglas and his box of gold coins. Well, the reason I picked this story out is because I've gotten several requests from the state of Washington, pretty much all corners of the state. And this one just happened to be pretty close to smack dab in the middle of the state, and I didn't want to leave anybody out. Well, Thomas Douglas. Let's see, where do we start? Well, Thomas Douglas was the son of a Scottish lord, and, well, he liked to read stories about the Wild, Wild West. And, well, maybe he got sick of living a life in the manor house, or maybe he just got sick of bagpipes and haggis. Who knows? But in the mid-1890s, he decided he's going to go out and head out to the American West and go have himself a life of adventure. Who knows? But anyways, that's what he decided to do. So he jumps on a big old steamship and heads for America. And, well, he gets to wherever they landed, New York or something, and he jumps on a train and heads out west and gets all the way to San Francisco. And he gets off the train and he decides he's gonna check out the city, and, well, that wasn't the kind of life he wanted to live, so he got himself freaking out. He went out, went all over. He went to Nevada and Idaho and Oregon and made his way all the way up to Washington when he found a spot that he really liked. And not only did he really like the mountains, but there was gold there. So he decided maybe he'd give it, a little try and see if maybe he could find gold. Who knows? Anyways, so he buys himself a house on the edge of town, a little house on the edge of town in Blewett, Washington. After settling down into his nice, cozy little house that he bought, he decides he's going to go out there and get himself some supplies, and go looking for some gold. So he buys himself a pan and a pick and a shovel and all the little things he thinks he might need. But he's an utter failure at it. He finds no gold. He has no idea what he's doing. So he hatches himself a little plan. He says, you know what? There's that one saloon downtown where they got some pretty good Scotch liquor, some Scotch whiskey, single malt. And I know the miners tend to frequent that place, so I'm going to go down there and, maybe freaking pick some brains and try and get some information on this gold hunting game. So that evening, Thomas slips into his finest kilt, cinches up his fancy sporran, and heads on down to the saloon to see what kind of information he can gather. Well, he comes on into the saloon, he looks over in the corner, and he sees some miners over there playing poker. Okay, there's his mark. Well, he goes up to the bar. He says, hey, bartender, bring me over a bottle of that scotch I know you got back there. And the bartender obliges, brings him a bottle of scotch. And he heads on over to the table and he says, hey, boys, plops that bottle down and says, how about I join this game? And they say, well, sure. He's got a bottle of that finest whiskey. They ain't gonna say no. So he pulls up a chair and they commence playing. They're drinking and playing. He's casually trying to get some information on the gold game, and after a while that bottle of scotch is gone, so he says, look, "Hey, bartender, bring on over another bottle." So he does, and they play poker, and they end up finishing that bottle. Well, he's starting to get their tongues loosened up pretty good, and he thinks he's getting ready to get some good information on looking for gold. So he says, "Hey, bartender," and the bartender says, "Sorry, no more scotch. We're out." So he thinks a second. He says, "This ain't gonna work, fellers. But you know what? I got plenty of scotch in my house. And in the parlor, I got a nice big table big enough to accommodate all of us. Why don't we move this game on over to my house?" Well, fellas all look at each other and they say, "Free whiskey, let's go." So they move the game on down the road to his house. Well, after they get to Thomas's house, it's time to start playing poker. So old Thomas says, "Have a seat, gentlemen." He walks on over to the sideboard and he pulls out a couple bottles of that fine single malt whiskey. He throws it up there. He pulls out some fine crystal glasses and sets them around the table, make sure everybody's got whiskey, breaks out the cards and says, "Let's play, fellers." And one of the guys says, "Hey, wait a minute, man. Where's the poker chips?" And Thomas says, "Darn, I don't have any poker chips." "Wait a minute, I got an idea." He runs in the other room and he comes out with a big old heavy chest. Boom, 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 boom. Bang! Throws it on the table, sticks the key in there, opens it up, and what's in the chest? Gold coins all lined up nice and neat. He's got $5 gold pieces. He's got $10 gold pieces. He's got $20 gold pieces. He says, "Let's use these." And well, of course, everybody thought this was a brilliant idea. So they're all, yeah, we'll use those. And well, he says, "Okay, one stipulation. We'll just make sure at the end of the evening, all these coins end up back in the box. And let's have a party." So they did. They played poker till the wee hours of the morning. Well, when the poker game died down, everybody did as agreed, and they put all the coins back in the box, back just like they were, nice, neat little rows. And everybody said good night, and they toddled on down the road. And well, Thomas took the box, locked it back up, put it back in the other room where he had it, and went on off to bed. Next morning, Thomas wakes up, goes brews himself a pot of coffee, sits out on the porch thinking about the night before, what information he's learned on how to go find gold, and suddenly it dawns on him. I broke out that box of gold in front of a bunch of strangers. Well, that ain't the best idea I've had since leaving Scotland. So he decides he's going to bury it. So just in case one of those guys wasn't so honest and decided he was coming back for it. So he goes out in the front yard and he has his little pull cart and he puts the box of gold in there and throws the shovel in there. And we know this because the lady across the street saw him loading that stuff in the little pull cart, and she saw him head off behind the house. And when he come back, well, he had his shovel, he had his pull cart, but he didn't have no big chest with him. So, but she didn't think much about it, and he knew his gold was safe. And everybody pretty much forgot about it for a couple of weeks, and well, a little time had passed. They noticed they hadn't seen Thomas. Nobody had seen Thomas for a while. So somebody, the old lady, I guess it was, somebody goes over and checks on him to see if he's doing all right, and they find him in his house dead. Well, after that, you can imagine it didn't take long for the word to get out that, hey, Thomas is dead. And everybody, well, after a little bit, small town like that, the word got out. Everybody found out about this box of gold. And the old lady had said her story about him heading off behind the house. And, well, you can guess, everybody and his brother was out there tearing his house apart, digging up the yard, looking for the box of gold. But nobody found it. Well, the town of Blewett pretty much died out after the gold died out, and there wasn't much left, and town slowly kind of faded away, and really no longer exists. But the area is pretty easy to find. The area nowadays is known of as Blewett Pass, and it's pretty big with snowmobilers in the wintertime. But locating it, pretty simple, is right smack dab in the middle on Highway 97 between Leavenworth and Ellisburg. So the area is pretty easy to find. There are some foundation ruins and stuff around, so you can pretty easily locate it. If I was going to go up there looking for it, well, I would probably start by trying to figure out where the edges of town were, because that's where his house was, somewhere on the edge of town. Anyways, have fun looking for that treasure. Well, thanks for sticking around for another episode of Lesser Known Treasure Stories. I got a playlist with other lesser known treasure stories. I'll leave that down in the comments so you can click the link and go check them out. Also, if you want to help support the channel, you know what? Head on over to my Buy Me a Coffee page, buy me a coffee. Or if you want, you can head on over to my merch store and get yourself a Why Don't We Do It in a Dirt coffee cup or a t-shirt or a hoodie or whatever tickles your fancy. Y'all know the deal. Stay safe on your adventures. For God's sake, stay out of trouble, and catch you on the next one. Bye.